march as your war chief. Until the end of days, I live and die. For the Horde!
Welcome back to the Heroes Global Championship in North America, where Gale Force Esports are sitting pretty 2-0 in their series over Superstars so far. Superstars not really doing some of the adjustments that we were hoping for, but Gale Force Esports seem like they have had their ideas for how this series will go this entire time.
Yeah, and I think really it's just Gale Force is doing Gale Force things so far. And Superstars is trying to do, you know, their own interpretation of things and approach and flavor. But it's just, it hasn't worked out so far. So for them, I either want to see them play very standard or I want to see them play, I mean, I get weirder than just the Cho'Gall here and there and get a little bit weirder than, you know, Zul'jin. I was critical of it, but I don't look at that as like a crazy strategy. I do think he's got a spot. So I want to see something off the walls.
Well, last series that Superstars played in, they did find themselves down 0-2 and ended up choosing the Battleground for the first time in the losers pick format. We'll see if they're going to do the same here.
Hopefully, because then we may get another Zul'jin, and I stand a chance at not losing this bet.
I don't know. I guess it depends where we go. Gale Force Esports picked Towers of Doom and Braxis Holdout, and they've chosen Cursed now too.
We saw Tassadar as the first pick last game. In game number 1, the first pick was, in fact, something that is eluding me on the top of my head.
Malfurion.
Malfurion by
Superstars.
Superstars. So they've gone with Malfurion, they've gone with Tassadar. I feel like this is the game where they put Faye on Artanis and just go, you know.
Super melee.
Yeah, it's just, well, maybe not even so much super melee, but just at least putting Faye on the, you know, catch somebody off. We can get a win with a, it's like, you know, the Stitches too. Get a swap, we have an opportunity to win the game. That might be what they go with here over some of the other draft options.
They have had a lot of warriors. In fact, every draft has had at least 2 warriors so far going into this series specifically. They're some of the heaviest melee focusers in drafting of all of the teams in HGC and A.
Okay, Superstars has the option. Again, I want to see a lot of flavor coming out from them, so I already want to see those changes with ban number 1, and that's going to be, I want to see a Tassadar ban from them. I think that would be, unless they're going to move into the Task Tracer or some Task Hypercarry-oriented composition, it's going to be their safe bet, or it's going to be a Zeratul ban is something I'd really like to see from them.
They did ban Tassadar the one time that they played Cursed Hollow versus Team Freedom too, so it's not outside the realm of possibilities to see that ban for Superstars. But is there a problem with Gale Force Esports and their super global comps? I wondered if maybe they would want to ban something there and restrict it somewhat from Gale Force, but instead another ban on Artanis. Why are you looking at me from the side of you?
I'm trying to figure out what I want to say is the right or wrong thing to say, I guess, is more than anything. And when it comes to draft decisions, is I'm pretty confident that if Superstars doesn't first pick Zeratul, Gale Force will deny the Zeratul and just pick the global again, and we're going to run into almost an identical draft.
Right.
But first pick Zeratul is, you know, not the best approach. So I'm trying to find, how do Superstars deal with it, or they just deny it? What do they do?
Here is my question. Why didn't they just pick any globals of their own?
You know, that's a good question. Maybe if they reverse sweep this, I'll ask them myself. I'll go out. I'll do that for you, you know? So Tassadar makes his way through, but the Tracer ban instead here for Gale Force to be able to, you know, say, well, if you're going to first pick Tassadar, we don't need to be worried about the Tracer. I think this only helps Gale Force, this position into the draft. Superstars now have to decide, do they want Tass? Do they want Ragnaros? Do they want the Zeratul? Are they worried about that? Or are they going to, you know, mix things up for real, more towards the false ad that they expect out of their opponents? Is it the Malfurion? I don't know what it is. I just hope it's different. That's all I'm looking for.
Before it was Brightwing and Zeratul, but it was when they had picked the map.
Zeratul false ad? Is it kicking it to the norm? Are they afraid of the Zeratul into the TAS? I don't know. I think Gale Force is obviously going to be moving with the fall. I just don't know where it goes elsewhere.
So yeah, it was Gale Force who picked Brightwing Zeratul in this position on Cursed. Actually haven't had any Cursed games from Superstars. was looking at the wrong sheet. So their strategy for here is a little bit of a mystery to us. But again, this is a commonly chosen battleground for Gale Force Esports before. So in their preparation for this series, it had to be something that Superstars is keeping their eye on.
Gale Force is going in surprising amount of time into that pick order with the Zarya, with the Vala. But the fact that they banned the Tracer expecting a first pick Tassadar, and then they went almost all the way through their time pool. Just really interesting to see that out from them. Now, where is Superstars going to move into? They have the Tassadar. They don't have the Tracer, nor do they have the Vala. What do you expect? More melees? I need you to give me the answers.
Are they going to Zul'jin here? That's the question that I'm going to ask.
Do it. Do it.
I would like to see a global of their own. No.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much for that. Because my bet would do rather well if I see a Zul'jin. So thank you very much.
You would win it. So yes, it would do rather well. Unless there was another Zul'jin game after this, in which case, yay! I mean, neither of us.
Not because
win,
the Zul'jin. Yeah.
Just because you lose.
No, yeah.
No. I still think they should pick up a global here. Okay, Brightwing Tychus.
I like the Tychus. I was surprised. The Brightwing there, just 2, is going to be able to get the global, yes. If you're going to take a global, 100% of the time I would suggest the Falstad or the Dahaka, or even maybe, not the ETC so much. But
in this instance,
it works better because there's a shield.
Tassadar supplementing, so it's not as bad.
It's just mainly that Brightwing loses her 1v1s, right? Like a lot of the time. She just is there as like a placeholder rather than Falstad can take the initiative. But yeah, no, this is a scenario where I think the Taz Brightwing double support is going to be all right. Illidan is the ban out there. Fear of the hyper comp. Hyper carry comp? I don't know.
That's funny, since that's something that Gale Force would do.
Oh, yeah.
Is get Illidan with a hunt to add another global to their already insane global compositions. Superstars ban here. Maybe a support. Malfurion's still up, so is Rhaegar. Maybe they do the same thing and they take out one of the global heroes.
I think that's
try to
safe.
Have control here.
I think it's safe. If they banned out the Falstad, I think it would be a very good... It might not change the entire game, but you know, at least you know what you can expect, and it's not going to be that soaking. How do we force this fight? You know, are we going to let them choose every fight? You know, I just Gale Force would be, or excuse me, Superstars would be at least in a more comfortable position. They let it go through. Now Gale Force has the option to pick it up. I don't even think Gale Force has to. It's just more. Again, if Superstars is the underdog in this series, you should definitely be looking to anything you can to get your opponent off guard and then be able to come up with creative strategies yourself, I guess, to try and be able to get the win. But Superstars here with a more traditional comp. What are you thinking for GFE?
I still think that probably... do they get to Haka? I don't know if they've done too many triple melees.
I think with Zarya and ETC up, you 100% ETC. But maybe you could to Haka. I think like an ETC Falstad transition or you pick up the support and leave your backliner is probably another safe route. So maybe even, I don't know. I think I would go ETC and then Malfurion. No, they go Falstad and then Diablo. Huh.
So waiting on Akaface's hero until the very end so they can flex depending on what these last 2 picks are for Superstars. You're pointing?
The last draft, they did the exact same thing. Never mind. It's, you know, this is just a dread moment. But with the not leaving their last position to be a flex, it's the second time we've seen this in the series, where a team will pick both of the picks, forcing themselves into the last one where you know it can only be one role, which means it's just it's a small thing that eventually against international teams can really punish a group when you put it to that, because then they can force you into the wrong support and then things get really ugly really fast. You always need that flex.
But isn't it so that maybe they could leave it up? Say a Cho'Gall comes out at this very moment. You leave it so that you could have Karzim. Otherwise, you can go into Rhaegar probably. It's just more of a focus on which support is going to be best versus Superstars. Yeah, I'm not sure how that'll work out for them globally. Muradin and Zeratul are the final picks for Superstars.
Removing that Zeratul, you know, combo that Diablo Zeratul would provide for Gale Force Esports. So with Tracer, Illidan, Zeratul all removed, what hero do you expect to see Fan on?
A support, and it's going to be Aquaface.
Oh, I forgot that it's, yep, that's a good point. Forgot that. Who's he play out of those 4 then? Who'd you put, Zarya?
I'd probably put him on Zarya.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, what support is it going to be? I don't know how, after just talking about that, I forgot. But either way, I mean, Rhaegar, right?
Yeah.
Do you see an argument for anybody else?
If they want Ariovala, but
I mean, Malf
it's not
is
one
his
of those
thing.
big wave clear maps. Yeah, why? What? Malf is...
He's still up.
Wow.
I just realized neither one of them been touched.
Huh.
Hello? You don't... There's...
Probably that.
Actually, I would take Rhaegar over Malfurion in this game.
And what's your reasoning for that?
Purely on, it's the only way we lose the game is if I don't have enough burst healing to save something out of the void. With the draft of my opponents compared to what I have with the self-sustain, the insane amount of frontline that I'm able to provide, everything that the tools needed, is the only way I feel like I can't win the game is if Diablo charges in, Void hits the back, and I don't have the tools to be able to keep him up. Trank can't do that. Twilight Dream won't be enough in my queue. So I would just take the Rhaegar and be like, you don't honestly need me. You just need to make sure that nobody dies. And Rhaegar can do that better than the Malfurion. But the fact neither of them was touched was insane.
I think maybe it's just so that they have some sort of follow-up, too, for Diablo, because so far there's nothing really to have follow-up to, so just add some crowd control there. But, yeah, I almost wondered if they would be so bold as to pick up Rhaegar and go for Bloodlust themselves.
I don't know. Maybe. We've seen more Bloodlust than I expected, at least so far. I was very surprised to see it really even kind of have any popularity, let alone for a while. I think it was all week 1. We saw more Bloodlust than we saw Ancestral, or not the case, actually? No, we saw mainly Ancestral throughout the whole wave. We've only seen 2 to 3.
But it was
Bloodlust.
Iacona. Oh, this is Gale Force, so that picked it up, so not so much.
Yeah.
I think it was Iacona a couple of the times, actually. So we had Bloodlust for Superstars. All right, we've seen both of the drafts. We know Superstars has to get this win, and every single one from here on out. Last-minute predictions. Who's going to take this game?
Gale Force Esports.
Okay, we're going into the game now. Cursed Hollow between Gale Force Esports and Superstars.
But Superstars really needs to win this because I need another Zul'jin.
Sorry, buddy. Not that Superstars won't be able to win it, just I don't know if we're going to see another Zul'jin. It seems like his jam is Brax's holdout.
Yeah, it's surprising that it is, but there's Zeratul, Brightwing composition, the Muradin. It's just everything that we see on the side of Superstars feels 4 months ago is what I feel that draft. That's how I feel about it. It's got a spot. All the heroes make a bit of sense, work together pretty well. It's just going to be really hard to run, I think, into the very forgiving composition on the side of Gale Force Esports. Even having the Malfurion there. On top of it, the combo. I agree with you when it goes to the follow-up that Malfurion can provide to the composition over the Rhaegar. A lot. Like, I blatantly just feel Malfurion is by far the best support in the game right now.
Yeah, he has a win rate to show it, too, to prove it.
And it's just sometimes when the rest of your 4-man is so freaking good, you know, I'd be willing to risk, you know, having the game without him because his biggest downfall still is going to be the lack of burst healing that he provides to a team.
As you can see, Malfurion also provides another added benefit of scouting drone to the team, and Goku had to take out that scouting drone before he could even start to engage the members of Gale Force Esports, which gave Gale Force even more time to siege down towers in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and Gale Force right now is in such a pretty spot that forward play is going to be used to teleport out. If Aquaface can get fanned right back up, the pressure here in this 1-1-3, Tassadar holds his own up in the Diablo. Gale Force Esports, though, is going to have Muradin losing the mid lane to Falstad. And since bottom lane's winning, that's 2 out of 3 in favor of GFE already.
Well, Equinox could fall here. That'll be the first blood. That helps at least a little bit with the constant pressure from Superstars. But in this amount of time, we might see Superstars make some adjustments to their laning. Maybe so Muradin can come down and help in this bottom lane. Maybe a bit more and then have Brightwing. I don't know. Would you want to see them change up?
For Superstars?
Yeah.
Yeah. As best as possible. I would try and get Muradin and have Brightwing Tychus and Tassadar also, though. And just Muradin Zeratul roam as best I could. Look for picks whenever possible, even if that means just applying more pressure to the bottom lane where the 3-man is. That's fine. But either way, how they're doing it right now, they're getting 0 value out of the Falstad.
And on the top lane, Tassadar isn't beating Diablo hard enough to really justify. And Gale Force should be winning the mid lane, the Falstad into Murden matchup. It just, anytime you have Zeratul and you aren't getting any roam pressure out of them, you're pretty much are wishing you had a different hero at that point in time.
Superstars at least has some Giants, so now they can hope that along with having Brightwing in the bottom lane, she and the Giants can push in the bottom wall. A tribute will spawn in the top, but it's just random where it's going to spawn. They're hoping they can get that. No rotations yet from Gale Force to get their own Giants. Instead, maybe looking to get a kill here in the mid lane, but Goku and Stray are both hanging out here. Even going to jump in, use Vorpal Blade again, taking down Equinox, but Goku takes enough damage, and the shielding from Equinox is good that there's going to be no kill just yet for Superstars.
Yeah, and I think this early game, though, even the amount of pressure applied to Equinox makes me, oh, man. End up getting the vault and the kill there over the wall. It makes me very afraid, I guess, of, again, the healing problem and conundrum that exists on the side of GFE into the Void. Just that early game that Zeratul's putting that much pressure. Post 10, I think things could get a lot scarier. As we say that, though, the engage on to Fan. He's already burned the vault. He ends up going down. Iacona now on the retreat. The nade not going to land. Iacona lives to see another day. Falstad has remained in the bottom lane, though. Stun comes out. And it looks like the channel's going to be initiated. Goku has to be careful because Iacona can't really heal that up very well.
Yeah, I'm scared for those grenades, especially since they are max energy. Here comes a grenade too. Goku once again dodges it. The zoning still staying true for Superstars. Crowan starting to move around from the other side. Throws out Fire Stomp, but it's just barely far enough away that he can't hit Goku. Goku gets the first tribute, but a long time was spent for that. Michael Udall is putting free pressure on the fort in the bottom lane thanks to that earlier three-man push from Gale Force Esports.
This is the same thing Gale Force Esports has done every single time on Cursed Hollow. They keep everybody in their lanes. Next time this happens, I just want to see Superstars commit Zeratul and Murden to get a kill. Like, just directly onto the global. Like, I'm just amazed that Gale Force can do the exact same thing every single time, and no team has just been like, why don't we just kill them? Or get a counter onto what they're doing. This just, the predictability is almost never really a good thing, especially when it survives that long. Stray in a tough spot, Dwarf tossing the wrong direction. Barrel Roll is not going to be able to channel the W continuously, but the stun Crone there with the almost style points and confirming that kill. Tribute's going to spawn, but a man down. Superstars really can't do much. They need to apply pressure to top, and it looks like that's going to be the choice they make. Falstad is not going to rotate top and match them. Instead, they're all going to commit to bottom. Now Gale Force doing the exact opposite of what they know. Well, I'm so confused.
There were 3 people pressuring the mid lane, but yeah, Falstad coming in, nobody helping against the top lane. They're just trying to trade out damage on towers, which is keeping Gale Force even in experience. If they get both the towers, they're sort of opening up too for once they can get a curse and all the forts will be exposed, but Superstars take 2 towers down of their own accord, starting to work on fort. They need to move back, though. All the members of Gale Force Esports are coming in. Looks like Iacona is going to be the one to stop. Rooted, but FaZe shifts out just in the nick of time.
I thought he was so dead.
So did I.
Man.
And then the death notification didn't come up.
Yeah, and you're like, okay. I didn't think he had that in time, but very well done. Iacona's going to be able to make the great escape. Tribute spawning on the bottom half. Skirmish 3v3 onto the top. Hosey there getting a couple of stacks maybe onto his level 4 there. Sray is in a tough spot. Fan loves using that mobility with that 10 hatred. So good abuse on top of it. The channel's going to be started here by Crowan. 10 is in even reach for both teams, but positionally, Superstars can get them in the lane one more time. Good zone onto Sray. Gale Force is going to be able to pick this up just purely on the health bars right now on the side of Superstars.
Yeah, health bars, it's also a scary position to run in for Superstars. And one wrong move, one kill for Gale Force Esports, and that could be 10 and a whole lot more. So Superstars playing that one out safely. Don't mind that at all so that they can look toward the next tribute. It does put them down 1. They have to get the next one, but they'll have heroic abilities, aren't down at all. I did want to point out to you, by the way, with his victory in the last game, playing Vala 2, Fam's now 4 for 4 games on Vala.
Yeah, he plays it very well. He's constantly applying pressure.
And his flanks with Strafe are amazing.
Yeah, he's very good at executing when he needs to apply pressure and when he doesn't. And it seems to be a little bit more calculated than some of the other players in North America, even though Fan typically is known for his melee play. When it comes to Heroics, Strafe, Expulsion, Twilight, Gust, and APOC. On the other side there is going to be Odin, Avatar, Tastar's Force Wall. Obviously it's Icona, so he's going to hold off. And then we have the Void Prison. So, this is going to be the spawn here. Gale Force one away from being able to pick up the Curse. Giants pressuring for both sides. Faye's going to start the channel. It's going to be interrupted there. Udall end up having to use the barrel roll out. Apocalypse still not used. There's going to be the polymorph onto him. A reasonable amount of harass going in. Cleanse used as well. Superstars is in a pretty good spot to complete this fight, except for Goku getting caught out.
Yeah, and there is a lot of poke again from Gale Force Esports. Fan chucks in a Hungering Arrow, just trying to stop. Equinox still has a lot of grenades that he could use too for this poke pressure, but once again, good zoning from Superstars throughout, and Goku's way in the back line, going for a 1v1 with Michael Udall. Mike barrel rolls away from him into his base, but has to come all the way back around, slowly flying in.
But suddenly the health bars have kind of, you know, turned around here as Akaface has been able to heal everybody up. Now the zoning is going to happen. Throw-in goes in. There's going to be the pin, the combo, the flip over. A 3-man Void is used to save. Posty here is in his Odin. Apocalypse has not been used yet. He's going to hold on to that for now. Sray in there 1 versus 5 at this point. There's going to be the stun against the wall. Goku goes in for the Ras. He blinks out, and suddenly there's going to be APOC used, but it cost him his life, and Goku survives in the 1v1 versus Udall.
Posty's Odin is done now, but he's going to run and gun up to get another kill on Zarya. That's a second kill for Superstars, and that will have to be the end of Gale Force Esports trying to get their first curse. Iacona grabs the tribute, and Superstars, with that positioning, can go ahead and pick up a boss to boot.
How many times have we seen Krillin be able to play the Diablo so far? Only once, I believe.
Yeah, the first time was for sure last week. I just don't know if it was once or twice.
I think it was only once, and
Just the hesitation on using APOC there until he was dead. I can't help but, again, feel like it was a little uncomfortable on understanding what he wanted to do, what he wanted to make happen. But he has, again, been probably one of the more impressive players when it comes to playing the Warrior for Gale Force Esports. Goku is going to be able to sniff this out, but nobody is going to make that transition in time. Both the teams get their respective boss. Tributes sit 2-2, and the tribute positioning spawns heavily in favor of Superstars. Gale Force Esports need to make something happen in 33 seconds before APOC is even up, while only 15 for Void.
A little bit of a bonus for Superstars too is that Brightwing's pushing along with the boss. 4 Superstars in top. All of the members of Gale Force Esports are heading straight to the tribute point. Brightwings will start to phase shift in pretty soon. Heroic abilities, Void Prison's online. There goes Odin being dropped. 2 Superstars say it is time to fight, starting to throw down damage. Apocalypse will be here in just a few seconds. Goku jumps in, doesn't find a spot that he wants to Void Prison, and it pushes Gale Force Esports all the way through the funnel. This positioning is so hard to try to get a tribute when you are not the defensive team here. Here comes Iacona 2 to help out. They're trying to maybe wait as long as they can so that they don't have to engage into the Odin, but on the back, Goku's found a nice Void Prison. Here come the rest of the members of Superstars. They have trapped all of Gale Force Esports on the other side. Apocalypse goes down too. Kron might be in trouble, Dread.
Yeah, Akaface now is on the retreat. Sray has a stun up in a couple of seconds here as he goes in straight over the wall. Is hitting a lot of damage onto Superstars, but it ends up costing Zarya her life. Now Mike Udall throws out the Q, not going to get enough damage, and Superstars looks like they're going to back out, pick up this very first curse of the game. Very well done from Superstars, showing that they, you know, Goku right now is the MVP of this match. He's been taking 1v1s onto the backline all day and trading up for his team, getting good voids, and, you know, not doing it just to save himself, but to be able to set up the rest of the team to try and make a play afterwards, and just waiting for Krone to really make the mistake. They look like a different team in this game from what we saw in 1 and 2.
They're not behind. They're not behind. They've stayed even with Gale Force Esports, but something you and I have talked about quite a bit about Superstars is how do they start to correct this passivity that we see, this worry about any time that they're behind. And we felt like it comes down to Goku. He's the one who has to add aggression to the team and pull, kicking and screaming maybe, the rest of Superstars into being willing to take engagements even when they're down. And that Void Prison and then the wrap around from Superstars to put Gale Force in a terrible position, splitting them. They're away from their base. They have all of the red team, Superstars between them. It was a great play from Superstars and a great start in being able to come back in the series.
And it's managed to be able to clean up all the forts here, and they're going to be able to back out, get their Knights. They have 16 talent tier advantage. Everything is looking good for Superstars for the first time in this series. The question is, can they close it out? And honestly, it's looking like it, at least when it comes to the team fight so far. Crowan has to be the initiator in using, Apocalypse with the engage. We saw the attempt there onto Iacona, and Iacona just goes, I'm going to blink heal right out of this. Thanks. And, it just, again, it comes down to whoever gets onto the Warrior for Gale Force Esports really feels to be the make or the break of the team. It's not even a specific player. It's just, are they the most comfortable on whatever, whoever's in the front line? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. And right now it looks like I would be leaning a little bit towards no.
Crowan's ETC seems to be probably the best for him. His Murden's good too, though.
But even then, I agree with you. He had a very impressive showing on his Murden and his ETC.
Yeah.
But even in the last game, we saw, the no-man mosh pits were used as well. So actually, was that? I don't even think that was him. That was my bad. He wasn't on the ETC. But either way, it's just that he has gotten caught out quite frequently into his play, and it's just a constant focal point. If I'm playing against Gale Force, it just would be like, focus on bullying their melee, whoever it is, because they seem so uncomfortable.
Bullying the melee and throwing them off their groove.
Yeah.
Seem to be the ways to stop Gale Force Esports. Superstars has sort of done that here the first time. They at least have gotten a level lead, but it's not in a situation where they're so far ahead. Gale Force Esports only needs one more tribute to get a curse of their own and nullify the damage that have been done, and no keeps have been taken out just yet for Superstars. So Gale Force are about to be on the same talent tier. Bosses will be up here pretty soon too for both teams.
Superstars is in a tough spot now that their opponents managed to be able to pick up 16 and is going to be threatening that tribute here. It is a huge momentum swing opportunity for Gale Force if they even win one team fight, especially depending on the timing on bosses. It looks like Superstars, though, is going to be starting theirs the second that it spawns. I don't think Gale Force is going to be able to scout it out in time. They want to. I just don't think I think the damage is there.
It's only halfway done. Expulsion zone.
Oh, this is scary.
Ray's trying to slow people down. There's a force wall too. Here goes Michael Udall.
Oh,
Mike's looking for the Gus. Void Poison off the back. Gus pushes all of the members of Superstars into the spot. Dwarf toss in. Ray looking for another kill. Stormbolt follow up. And Superstars walks away with their boss.
And they're going to be able to walk away down to bottom, be able to pick up this tribute and start the secondary boss. Gale Force is not, they are looking to defend. You saw it for a moment. They were questioning what they were going to do. But in fact, this will be another tribute and should be a boss already started here. The fact that Gale Force hasn't shown is making Superstars patient. Oh my.
Man, Superstars or Gale Force are moving around quite a lot. It took a while to figure out what they wanted to do.
Yeah, they have no idea the situation that they want, and they instantly initiate there. Sray goes in. Falset's still yet to be able to join the fight. Expulsion Zone used. Twilight Dream as well. They end up getting the pick there. Sray in that 1 versus 4. The top keep ends up falling in the process, and the boss will be converted. But yeah, very much Gale Force, you could tell with their decision making, I was so confused for a second where they're going to end up going, and it worked out for them.
It did, but that was mostly due, I think, to Sray dwarf tossing into a whole lot of Gale Force. Lockdown, Twilight Dream, Expulsion Zone was excellent too to zone the rest of the team away. I thought maybe he thought he had heavy impact because he just full dwarf toss on a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, it was. It's the second one where he's kind of just instantly gone in there, but the zoning tool to be able to keep the rest of the Superstars away was enough here for Gale Force Esports. They go and pick up, Superstars pick up Gale Force's Giants. The tribute spawns on the top half. Brightwing can pick that up. It might leave Falstad into the 1v1. I love the fact that Goku's staying here just in case Mike Udall decides that he wants to fly in, try and take the 1v1. He will end up losing his life and going to be able to back out. So very good position here to be Superstars. As the channel is going to be confirmed, and expect the teleports to come into play soon. There it is.
Yeah, Superstars